The sound of a slap cracked through the summer air, silencing an entire street. A biker in a leather vest sneered, his hands still raised, arrogance dripping from his grin. Gasps rippled through the crowd as a young black woman touched her cheek, her eyes steady, her silence unshaken. The gang burst into cruel laughter just for a heartbeat, because 1 second later, their bodies slammed to the ground hard, as if justice itself had struck them. The town was alive with warmth. Families strode hand in hand, shop doors propped open to let the breeze carry scents of cinnamon, coffee, and grilled food into the streets. Children giggled, chasing one another across the square. Vendors called out their deals, and soft music from a street guitarist blended with the hum of life. It was an evening painted with peace. Among the people walked Amara, a young black woman carrying grocery bags. She moved with quiet dignity, her steps measured, her presence calm. Though simple in appearance, she radiated something stronger than wealth and inner power that most overlooked, until it revealed itself. The peace shattered in an instant. Engines roared like thunder as a gang of bikers tore into the square. Chrome gleamed under the setting sun. Leather jackets bore snarling skulls and flames. Their laughter was harsh, jarring against the harmony of the evening. They parked in the center, claiming the space as if it belonged to them. One kicked over a vendor's stand, sending fruit rolling across the ground. Another spat on the pavement, daring anyone to challenge him. But no one did. Fear spread quickly, eyes turned away, conversations hushed. Parents pulled children closer. It was then that one biker's gaze landed on Amara. She didn't look away. She didn't quicken her pace. She just kept walking, calm, steady, dignified. To him, her silence was a challenge. He smirked and stepped into her path. "Well, look what we got here," he drawled, his voice dripping mockery. His friends circled around, their boots scraping the pavement, cutting off her escape. "Carrying groceries? You should be carrying drinks for us." Amara said nothing. Her silence was her shield. But arrogance hates silence. The biker's smirk twisted cruelly. Without warning, his hand lashed out. The slap cracked through the square, echoing off walls. Gasps erupted from the crowd. A child whimpered. An old man muttered under his breath. But no one stepped forward. Amara's head tilted slightly with the force. Her cheek burned red, but her eyes calm, unwavering, rose to meet his. She did not flinch. She did not cry. That silence, that dignity, was louder than the slap. The bikers laughed, stomping their boots, howling with ugly delight. "Did you see that?" One shouted. "She didn't even fight back." Another jeered. "Maybe she knows her place." The crowd stood frozen, hearts pounding. For 1 tenth second, the world seemed to pause. The biker's hand still hovered in the air. His grin froze. The laughter around him began to falter. Something unseen had shifted like the moment before lightning strikes. Behind Amara, shadows moved, quiet, swift, purposeful. The crowd held its breath. Suddenly, the biker staggered. His knees buckled. With a groan, he slammed face first into the pavement. His friends laughed until their own bodies lurched. One after another, they were yanked down, their boots scraping helplessly, their groans echoing across the square. The crowd gasped in shock as the bikers lay sprawled on the ground, their arrogance broken in a heartbeat. From the shadows stepped two figures, broad, sharp-eyed, moving with precision. Off-duty soldiers, their instincts honed from years of service. They had been watching from the cafe, their attention drawn the moment the gang arrived. And when the slap fell, they acted without hesitation. They didn't need weapons. Their training was enough. Swift movements, pressure points, tactical precision seconds were all it took to bring the gang crashing down. Through it all, Amara hadn't moved. She stood tall, groceries still in her arms, her face calm, her cheek red, but her dignity untouched. The soldiers glanced her way, giving her a nod of respect not as someone who needed protection, but as someone whose silence had been stronger than the bikers. Noise dot it wasn't just the soldiers who had brought justice. It was her composure that had called it forth. Slowly, the townsfolk stepped forward. Murmurs turned to cheers, hands clapped, voices rose. What had begun in fear ended in unity. Parents hugged their children tighter, teaching them what true courage looked like, not in fists, but in dignity. The bikers, groaning on the ground, were dragged away by police soon after. Their arrogance lay scattered across the square like broken glass dot as the dust settled. Amara finally spoke, her voice soft but commanding, cutting through the evening air. Respect is not a request. It's the price of being human. The crowd fell silent, her words carving themselves into memory. Under the fading glow of streetlights, an entire town realized that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it stands silent, steady, waiting for arrogance to collapse under its own weight.